2024 Planning Commission meeting to order. It's now 6 o'clock. I welcome everybody that's in the studio audience. And we will get started with a flag salute, and I'm going to have Mr. Bob sign us up and do that for us. So if you would lead us in the flag salute, sir. Yes, you, Bob.
Place your hand over your hearts.
Okay. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And we will do a roll call.
Commissioner Dever.
Kathleen, if you would.
Here. Commissioner Mattingly. Here. Commissioner Santos.
Present.
Commissioner Steinbach.
Here.
Commissioner Stevens. Here. Vice Chair Graff.
Here.
And Chair Camarada.
Here. Okay, so the next item happens to be item number 2, which is selection of a new chair and vice chair for the 2024-2025 season. If we want to do that now, anybody have any ideas or motions they want to make?
Yeah, I do, and I think you've done a great job for 3 years. And being chair, you learn a lot about the whole process. And I think it would be a good idea to take those people that are new to the commission and have them be chair. It's a good learning experience for them. And so I nominate Brenda Stevens as chair.
Okay. With that being said, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that for the same exact reason.
Okay, anybody want to have any more discussion? If no further discussion, then I will call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we also need a vice chair. Anybody want to make a motion? I mean, I know it's good to have somebody new do it, but you can't do all of it.
I beg your pardon?
I said it's good to have somebody do it all, but not all. So we need a vice chair.
Yes.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Well, I guess.
I'll nominate Monica.
Well, I was going to nominate Jay because Jay's new and it would be really good experience for him also.
Okay, and I will second that motion. Okay, so anything further on that? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion to have Jay Mattingly be the vice chair for the 2024-2025 season? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay? Okay. I'm going to presume that we will have they'll take over at the next meeting. Is that correct? Or do you want to have them do it for tonight going forward?
It's been a while since I've been in the planning commission, but typically when the way they do it in council is they switch.
Right now? Okay.
And then you would take over the rest of the meeting.
Okay.
I would say, if you're not comfortable with that, I think it's perfectly fine for him to continue.
Well, I will tell you this. Tonight's agenda is rather simple, and I'm going to recuse from 5A and 5B. Other than that, there's not a whole lot on there. Unless there's any objection, can we just do our meeting with the way it is, and then next meeting they can actually take over? Does anybody have any objection to that?
And then, that way Linda can get the information to them as far as holding a public hearing meeting and everything, so that they've got that information so that they can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're okay with that? Everybody's okay with that? Okay. Which brings me to the next item, which is item 3, oral communications. Persons wishing to address the Planning Commission on subjects other than those scheduled or requested to do so at this time, please provide a name and address for the record. In order to conduct a timely meeting, a 3-minute time limit per person has been established. Do we have any such persons that have submitted anything? No? Okay. Item number 4, consent agenda. Item number 4A, approval of the February 12th, 2024 minutes. I found one small mistake in there, or one little correction, I should say. Under page 2 of 4, under item number 4, it talked about, as it was no further requests from the public to speak. Chair Camerata closed the public meeting at 6:15 and invited council discussion on a motion. It should be commissioner discussion on a motion. Commission discussion. That's the only change I have. Other than that, I'm fine with approving these minutes. Does anybody else have any changes or corrections?
I move we approve the minutes with the noted change.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So with that, we'll go to public hearing 5A, and I will turn this over to my Vice Chair, Mike Graff, for the next couple of items. I'll get out of your way in a second here. And I'll be back when you call me back. Oh, let me turn this off.
Next item on the agenda is public hearings. 5A, discussion and consideration of amended vesting tentative tract map 74138 to amend Phase 2 of a mixed-use project consisting of the development of 16 residential units with a total of 39 parking spaces located at 24516 Narbonne Avenue within the DC Downtown Commercial Zone, and finding that the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. Does staff have a report, please?
Yes, good evening, planning commissioners. This board has heard this project before a couple of times, and it's back because we're prepared to do the final map of the vesting tentative tract map, but ran across just a couple issues regarding one element of it. So this project, as you all I'm sure are familiar, is the construction that is to the east of Burn in Daylight and those 5 residential units currently under construction. And so the city has received complaints about fears of the alley shutting down for access. There have been 2 new CUPs for alcohol service approved since the approval of this vesting tentative tract map, and there's some fears that it might spill out into the public paseo. Some access for waste and storage services. There are some easements as discovered by Public Works that will make it very difficult to hand it over to private property. And last, not having a paseo would greatly improve fire safety access for all the tenants north and south of that alley. So I said, okay, we have a final map ready to go. Like, is there any reason there can't be a paseo? So we did the research. I found that it has been approved by Planning Commission and City Council as a vesting tentative tract map with the paseo before. And it is found that that was approved in order, the attorney's calling me actually. Do you want to answer that real quick? It was approved with, due to, they increased that amount of private land area by proposing taking the paseo area from this, purchasing the paseo area from the city because they needed to meet the density that was proposed and approved on the plans. And so I looked at it and said, okay, why can't there be more density? Looking at it, our current general plan, which as you all know is currently being updated and will be updated by the end of the year, it would allow for 16 units, and that is what they're proposing on the way. Oh, okay, thank you. So if we have any questions with the attorney, we will either continue that item if it hinges on the approval, or if it's something other than that, we can get back to you or do our best to answer. Apologies for that. So, where was I? Well, we looked at it, and within the math and the calculations for the allowed density on the lot, they rounded down. We looked at code, we looked to the state, if there was any guidance on whether you're supposed to round down or round up. So at the end of the day, it's a difference in rounding. We asked the state, we looked at state density bonus, any other type of similar measurement and what is done at the state level or local level. And the closest thing we could find was density bonus rounding, and that rounds up. Therefore, when you round up, this property is permitted to have 16 units and doesn't need to include the paseo in its total lot square footage. In addition, like I mentioned before, the general plan update preferred future land use map was passed on by council last November and does include a higher density up to 30 units per acre on the site. So this proposal is well within what will be approved in October and future development to come. So staff recommends approval with the same exact conditions of approval that Planning Commission and City Council had priorly, I don't know if that's a word, had before adopted, with the exception of anything related to the Paseo and with the addition of the requirement to submit right-of-way improvement plans to be reviewed and approved by the Public Works Department, and that the improvements shall be installed and pass inspection prior to the issuance of the certificate of occupancy for any unit of this Phase 2 16-unit development. We do have the applicants here if you would like to ask questions. Otherwise, that completes my report.
Any of the commissioners have any questions? Monica? No. Brenda? Joaquin? Bob?
Just a quick clarification. So when it was decided a couple of years back, and it was supposed to go to council, and in the document here, it said it never went, was it being held for a reason? Or just, I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, I'm just curious.
Yeah, not that I could find. So this project has gone through entitlements for actually 9 years now, but specifically for this Phase 2, it was approved by Planning Commission in 2020 and then went to City Council for approval of the vesting tentative track map 2 months later, and it was approved. And then about a little over a year later, Council declared the intention to vacate that right-of-way area, but they asked for Planning Commission to find consistency with the general plan that would support vacation of that area. And so Planning Commission, probably most of you, on July 11th, 2022, was able to find consistency with the general plan and recommended approval of the vacation to council. And I cannot find in any records why there's such a delay in that going to council. Potentially it's because of the question on the Paseo, and bird's eye view and whatnot and renderings, it's beautiful, but when you get down on the ground, there's a lot of hoops that various departments are concerned about.
And one other question, does fire department need that for secondary access, or is it even accessible to the fire truck?
Fire department has looked at this, actually last year.
Okay, that's it, thanks.
Jay? Nothing for me. Nothing? So, okay, never mind, I don't have any questions. Go ahead.
Was there any, because I know that Paseo was a hot topic for a long time and we went back and forth on it. Was there any bonuses to the builder regarding if the Paseo was there or not there?
You said bonus? Is that what you said?
The builder's bonus, or,
There was not.
So there was nothing outside of the ordinary that included the approval of the Paseo.
The only difference is that the additional lot area with a rounding down calculation would allow 16 units. But rounding up, just like other densities are calculated in our code and by the state, allows it without that additional land.
So they're still within where they needed to be with or
They
without.
are.
It makes no bearing on
Without
that.
having to do any amendment to the general plan.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? No? Okay. We'll begin the public comment portion of the hearing. Is the applicant present, and do they wish to make any statement?
Good evening. Luigi Schiappa, 2040 Lomita Boulevard, Suite 100, Lomita. I'm just here to answer any questions that you might have, but I think Brianna made a nice presentation, better than I can make. But there were a lot of complications with regards to the logistics of that alley and utilities, liability, just all kinds of things. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this? No cards? Okay. Okay, with that, we'll bring it back to the commission for any further questions. Does any of the commissioners have any further questions? Jay? Bob? Joaquin? Brenda? Okay, with that, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it as presented by staff.
Okay. Okay. Motion and second. We can do this voice vote? Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you very much. Okay, now on to the second public hearing. 5B. It's discussion and consideration of vesting tentative tract map number 83968 to subdivide 139,428 square foot lot into a planned residential development containing 9 single-family residential lots and 1 common lot at 2418 253rd Street within the agricultural non-commercial A1 zone, and finding that the project is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act. Does staff have a report on this?
Yes, good evening.
Excuse me, Laura, is this our first one
First,
on the PRD?
this is our first planned residential development,
Okay.
section 11-1.30.17 of the zoning code. Thank you. All right. I have my presentation. Can I get, thank you. Okay. So this application consists of one entitlement. We're specifically here regarding the subdivision. The PRD is intertwined, but that is reviewed administratively because that's single family. So this vesting tentative tract is for a 39,428 square foot lot located on the south side of 253rd Street. The property zoning is agricultural non-commercial, which allows for one-family residential uses. The general plan designation is agricultural residential and allows a density of up to 10.89 dwelling units per acre. This project has a density of 9.9 units per acre. It is consistent with both the zoning and general plan designations. The property has 165 feet of street frontage and is 239 feet deep. It is a flat lot. Nearby, several similar-sized properties were subdivided. Their subdivisions were pre-incorporation, and they have access on a private street. You can see behind on 254th, and then to the west on 253rd. Other similar-sized lots, but a little bit different form because of our new PRD development standards. Okay. The existing right-of-way, it's 50 feet wide. It has parking on both sides of the street. No changes are proposed from the curb-to-curb design. Directly in front of the property is a narrow public landscape area. Then the design goes sidewalk, which abuts the curb. I'm going to be spending a little bit of time on the right-of-way tonight because it's in our Chapter 2 of Title 11, which is the land division section. And I think it's important here because we're doing, again, a bit of a departure on things and a little more granular analysis. So please bear with me and ask any questions, as we go. The sidewalk, curb, and gutter will be replaced. Oh, okay, one of these pictures is sideways, if you cannot tell. In accordance So here we have, this is the frontage of the property. Now, this utility pole, there's utility lines all on the south side of the street. Again, navigating the sidewalk challenging. And the condition is, it's rather poor. There are 2 driveways on this property. None of the aprons are ADA compliant. So in accordance with the general plan density and zoning codes, planned residential developments, the property will be subdivided into 9 single-family lots, and the driveway fire line will be a separate lot owned and maintained collectively. So again, we're going back to chapter 2, and this was noted in the staff report. The table is cut and paste, but these are the pertinent standards when it comes to subdivision design as it applies to this property. You know, the right-of-way width, we have a cross-section in our municipal code, and it's 54, but the general plan says the right-of-way should be ideally 60. In this instance, we don't think it's appropriate to take a dedication of 5 feet, and the reason being is the rest of the block is at 50. So this would be an inconsistent pattern of development, and it's not foreseeable that the street will ever get to 60. However, keeping in mind access and planting area, we do believe that the 5 feet for an easement is important. So we're kind of getting some workable space as needed. And so the code allows us to do such, the code in the general plan. The lot design, again, it's consistent with the planned residential development. The sidewalk on its final design will be no less than 4 feet wide, maybe even wider. And street trees will be planted. So speaking of this right-of-way and the street trees, this is the south side of 253rd, and one of the 8 properties has parkway trees. You can see on the bottom. It's a very shallow planting area, and we can continue to force a certain type of design in space that's inadequate for it to work ideally, or we can make modifications to our design and kind of do alternatives that we think produce a better likelihood of success. This is on the north side of 253rd. Again, it's kind of no rhyme or reason. Some of those properties, there's no utility lines on this side of the street. Some of those properties have parkways, some do not. And in this instance, there's 13 properties on the north side, 4 have parkways, and only 1 has a parkway tree. I think I was discussing this before, the municipal code cross-section for a local street, and then what we're proposing here is that easement. So with regard to circulation, access, and parking, this is typical of all the properties along, or most of the streets on the west side of Pennsylvania. You can turn right or left. This one doesn't have a stop. You can't go straight through. Vehicles off of 253rd will enter in a 26-foot wide driveway/fire lane, and that will replace 2 approximately 12-foot wide driveways. Pedestrians, they will have a new accessible sidewalk and accessible apron, singular, excuse me. And the new landscape area, it's anticipated will not conflict with utility designs or utility lines. And last, the parking situation, street parking is available for everyone, but this project will have 2 enclosed spaces, and then each of the properties will the garages will be set back, and they'll have 2 of their own private driveway spaces and 3 guest parking spaces. So the tentative map was reviewed by LA County Fire Department's Land Division, and they recommended approval. The city's engineering consultant reviewed the map, and they provided conditions which related to the subdivision, the road, sewer water, grading, stormwater drainage, and soils. You know, the staff report does make note that this area has insufficient storm drains, and this project, like all current projects, will have low-impact development requirements that it must satisfy for stormwater retention. Low impact. What did I say? You said low impact. Oh, low. Yeah, our water is great too. Low impact, LID. You've probably heard and then the building and safety takes care of that with their grading and drainage review and puts a covenant on the property for the type of improvement they have. So the map was found in compliance with the Lomita Municipal Code and the Subdivision Map Act. This is a kind of a proposed elevation, preliminary landscaping, and as we were talking about trees, this is not how it will look. We won't have anything budding out, but this is something that the city did on the 2000 block of North Lomita Boulevard, kind of an alternative, right? Putting the tree abutting the private property, creating the walkway around instead of forcing it up against the curb. So I just wanted to show you that because it's something, I don't know when it was created or designed, but we have deviated from the model of curb parkway, skinny parkway. So here are the map's findings, and they are elaborated on in the resolution. Staff has found that it's designed to benefit from natural cooling. It is consistent with the general plan. It is physically suitable for a 9-unit project. It's not likely to cause environmental damage. It's not likely to cause public health problems. It's not likely to conflict with easements. There is a utility easement along the westerly property line, and that is going to be preserved. Waste discharge is going to go into the sewer system. And last but not least, it will help Lomita meet its regional housing needs. The project is exempt from CEQA's infill development categorical exemption because it is consistent with the general plan and zoning. It's less than 5 acres. There's no protected habitat, no significant effect on traffic, noise, air quality, or water, and it is serviced by all required utilities. So, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission recommends to City Council approving a vesting tentative track map subject to conditions. Last week I received a call from the property owner to the east, and I've had new written communication. Are there any questions?
The visual that you showed of the potential buildings that could be on the site, were those actual building plans, or were those just like a hypothetical, here's what the buildings could look like on the site?
I think they're pretty close to exactly what they're going to look like.
Okay.
Okay. It's a farmhouse kind of look, but the applicant is here and can answer those
Great.
design questions for you.
That's it for me.
Okay.
No questions.
Brenda?
No, these are all detached, 10 feet between each home. They're on separate legal lots. So that's what's meant by, let me see if I can go down there. This is landscape plans, but pretty much the similar. So separate legal lots, they're sold as single family, but there is an HOA that's going to be maintaining the common driveway, right, or fire line, which is, it's both. And so,
Are there fences between the houses?
I don't believe we require it, so that would be at the discretion of the developer.
So it's not required, though?
I don't recall us requiring fences in our PRD.
That's a difference in a regular residential then?
Well, the difference in the residential is, your property lines. If someone wants to install a fence, that's a voluntary decision.
And the same thing here?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
They do have to, I should say this, I'm sorry, around the perimeter of the property.
Right.
They have to, but between these
In the
units,
units.
between these lots, no.
Okay.
But between them and the neighbors, yes.
Yeah,
The only requirements would be building and safety, and that's only going to be height and what it's made
right,
of.
right. On the, where am I here? The resolution on, and I noticed it on the presentation on page 10, item 56, says that the 3 guest parking spaces, the plan that we have, I think, shows 4.
3 are required. If 3 are required. If they do 4, that's a bonus. If they make the 4th, if the transformer has to fit there, but 3 are what are required.
Okay.
So we're not
Okay, so the
encumbering
plan, you don't know whether the plan is, what we have here is what the plan is?
Well, because the fire lane is set, it's pretty close to the plan. But again, the municipal code only requires 3 spaces, so we're not adding a condition that they mark 4
Okay.
as guest.
Yeah, and in here it didn't, yeah. In here it didn't say, but your presentation said, so the front 6 units will have closed garages and 2 additional parking spaces. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. And then the back 3 units will just have closed garages and then the other parking space, the visitor parking space, is that correct?
My recollection, and I'm sorry because, and maybe the applicant, I believe that is correct. Again, parking is they will meet all the parking requirements from the PRD. And I'm bringing this in for context, but it is not part of the map. It's not part of the land division.
Gotcha. Okay,
right?
I understand. Okay, I understand. That's why it's not mentioned. Okay. And the other thing that the only question I have, it says under compliance is if any of the conditions of the minor conditional use permit. And I didn't see anywhere mentioned that there's a minor conditional use permit.
It seems that there was I cut and pasted and overlooked an entitlement. I see that. That will be changed to the vesting tentative track map. Thank you for the catch.
Not the minor.
There is no
okay.
minor conditional use permit on this project, one entitlement only. I will make that correction for the acting chair to sign on the resolution.
Okay. Okay, that's all I had. Okay, any other questions from the commission? Okay, with that, we'll open the public comment portion of the hearing. Is the applicant present, and do you wish to make any presentations?
Evening, Commissioners. Luigi Schiappa, 2040 Lomita Boulevard, Suite 100, Lomita, California. No presentation on my behalf, but I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Monica, do you have any questions for the applicant? Brenda?
I just have a comment rather than a statement. Thank you for providing on-site parking. Oh, my God. I'm ecstatic. And that's,
Yeah, it's important. I always push on-site parking, so.
Joaquin? Okay, Bob?
Yeah, quite an extensive list of requirements. Do you agree to all of them?
I do.
I just want that on the record.
Yeah, no,
Thanks.
I do, absolutely.
Well, they have to publish those, the requirements too are part of the approval process, aren't they? All the requirements are part of the approval process that they have to attest to and
Yes.
everything, right?
Yeah,
Yes. We also made the applicant aware before tonight's meeting. We alerted him to the recommendations of our consulting engineer.
That's right, that's right. Good. Jay, any questions? All right, thank you, Luigi.
thank you.
Thanks. Are there any speaker cards?
Yes, we have Joe Gonzalez.
Would you please come forward and please give your name and address, please, for the record.
It's Joe Gonzalez, 2441 254th Street, Lomita, California.
And what would you like to discuss?
I have lived in the same location for 36 years. And during rain, our street gets flooded and water just runs down to our property. And when I tried building a little building in the back, it's about 900 square feet. And they made me do a hydrology report and how much water it was gonna make. And they made me do a 5,000 gallon tank underground storage water. And the drainage for all of Lomita, it goes north and south between Torrance and our city. And that is already to capacity. It has more than capacity. And when it rains, there's no water going into this drainage, so everything gets flooded. The rain from this project would be going into, I've talked to the owner just a little bit ago, and he says that they're gonna try to have a little drainage, but doesn't seem like it's that much. It's gonna be in the ground, and our ground is not, it will not take a lot of water. So I propose that they should do some kind of a storage tank in the street and let that water out when it's full. And this drainage will be going into Pennsylvania, and it'll just keep going Pennsylvania towards Lomita Boulevard. And I also own 3 homes in 246th Street. And when it rains, you cannot see the street. You can just barely see the sidewalks. So this would be more water into the whole project, so all the city. So I propose that they have a detention tank, and that is my main concern, the water.
Okay. Does staff does the hydrology report take care of that or anything?
Yeah. So we do, the condition on stormwater is number 21. This will be reviewed prior to the final map. Right, we'll go to council with this application, but the engineering for their grading and drainage will be evaluated prior to the final map. At this point, we're just going to the tentative map, and stormwater is conditioned. Again, it's number 21, and so are soils reports are required prior to final map hearing. It is an existing condition that there is storm drain deficiency in this area. It was noted in the staff report. Lid requirements are post a lot of the development in Lomita. They're applying to newer developments. And so there was nothing the engineers felt like was needed in addition to LID.
Okay, thank you. Did that answer your question?
And I can just add a little bit more to that might help as well. So in the LID, Low Impact Development Review, as well as during the final map, they do an extensive study based on what the final site plans for each of the 10 lots would be. And then they determine what will be required prior to them being able to start building to fulfill what's required for stormwater and then beyond at the site. And so this is as a tentative tract map approval request. It's just saying, okay, like the concept, the lot lines, these make sense. And so, but at the final map and at the LID, that's when they'll know exactly what type of stormwater conveyance or infrastructure, such as a tank or something like that.
Well, you can see all the rainwater, the roof water, the pavement, all the concrete, everything, and the landscaping is not going to take a lot of water because our soil is not very good. So I still think that they should, they made me do the hydrology for my property, and like I said, it's a large tank for a little piece, and then this one here is quite large. So again, that's the main concern with this.
Thank you. We'll definitely be noting that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speaker cards?
I didn't know I needed to fill out a card.
Okay, would you come forward, please, and give your name and address for the record?
Thank you.
Good evening, Bill Lockwood, 2430 253rd Street. I am the property that is adjoining the proposed development directly to the west. Initially, I liked seeing on there that there was one common use lot when I read the little sheet on it, and yet in looking at the plans, I didn't see a common use lot. I thought it was going to have like a little park or something. So it kind of tells me that we have 9 units, and if we divide that by 39,000, we're at about 4,500 square feet per lot. My property is a half acre. Kathy Bremner, who was the one who contacted directly to the east, is a half acre. Above her is a half acre. To my west is a half acre. So 4,500 square foot lots don't really fit the neighborhood at all, let alone the picture that we saw. That just looks like more of that monstrosity that's behind Burning Daylight over there, just on a smaller scale, same colors and everything. Regarding insufficient stormwater drainage, I'd like to clarify, there is no stormwater drainage on 253rd. We do not have a single storm drain. 254th, where Joe lives, they have 2. One was required, put in when they did one of the developments up there. We already have 2 development cul-de-sacs on our cul-de-sac. This would make 3. All of them without anything being done to mitigate all of the extra water that's being put out onto the street. The street does not grade to Pennsylvania. There's a dip in the middle of it, which happens to be right in front of my property. When this dip fills up, it then drains across the street into the Townsend property, which has been flooded on multiple occasions, as has mine when Joe related, when the storm drains become insufficient on his, it goes through the property, right through mine, right down onto the street, and there's no place for it to go. It just fills up, continues to try to run south, and eventually when it gets high enough, it starts going to the east. But that is long after it has covered not only the gutters, but the sidewalk, and is in my yard. And I'm not saying that it's just rain on my yard. It is a lake going into my yard. So to add more non-permeable surface in an area that has a street that was designed for just a couple of dwellings per large piece of property, to me doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It certainly doesn't, go with what has been required before, where the water needs to be mitigated. And this is only going to exacerbate what is already an extremely bad problem. I had 17 inches of standing water in my property here some years back because of this. 17 inches. My house is 200 feet from the street. That's 17 inches at my house. This is not a joke. And yet we're just going to whitewash it by allowing some little tiny drain there in that piece of property to do what? It can't attach to the storm drain. They don't exist.
Thank you. Thank you for your concern. Thank you for your comments.
So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the applicant wish to make any further statements? No, okay. Do any of the commissioners have any further questions for the public hearing? No, okay. With that, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission for further discussion. Does anybody have any further questions? Does staff have any statements to make? No. Monica? Brenda?
Yeah, I think in the presentation, we addressed the storm, the water. I'm at a loss for word here. Did we address in the presentation or in the plan any alternative to water or standing?
So that comes at the time that the city engineers review the project. The city works with TransTech as well as has their own engineers on staff. That is a step between this hearing and then the final map hearing.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
And I know we're all in kind of uncharted territory here with the PRD. Yeah, those. So, and I know when we're moving out into the ag properties and the older properties throughout Lomita, not just on that side. That side is kind of unique in the sizes of lots. And so I think we need to be really careful here how we proceed forward. I know we're taking it case by case, but there are certain things in certain areas that we need to kind of look at a little bit individually and different. And I know we've had a lot of excess water this year that we don't normally have, which is complicating an already bad system that needs to be upgraded. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and we've made note of the concerns expressed tonight because this is the appropriate time before the full design is fleshed out. And so the next step would be a city council hearing on the final map, which probably a year or plus out as they do construction. And so the at that point, you will see exactly what type of stormwater conveyance is involved on the project and be able to speak on it.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Joaquin?
I mean, it's an infrastructure issue, obviously. That has nothing to do with the project as of now, but can the city or can recommendations be made to Public Works to figure out how to address that? Because they're absolutely right. If it's affecting and going through their property, if he's got a little catch basin or something to catch his own rainwater and then eventually put it out of his property, as he mentioned, back to the street, but you know, where is the new developer's water gonna go?
Yes, exactly. We made note of it. Actually, well, in my comments later, was going to mention the general plan annual progress report, where we are putting together everything that was done in 2023. And so ensuring that that is in their plans. I know Public Works has planned out through, I think, 2027, their projects, but maybe a reprioritization of that.
Bob? Jay?
Just echoing what Brendan and Joaquin said, I mean, I want to, obviously, we've all heard what these gentlemen have said, and it seems to be something beyond the project. It's an infrastructure issue, so as long as the hydrology report addresses that and we can take steps to fix that and the underlying issue, I think that's my major concern.
Thank you. Yeah, I reiterate the same about drainage. If these people are in that area are having problems and have had problems in the past, yeah, you're adding, what you're doing is you're taking away from open ground, if you will, for water to soak down into. And I think that's something that we really have to be concerned with. And understanding the problems that we've had and that the whole area has had there, and we heard just a couple of them tonight, that I think that needs to be taken into account when this goes forward for drainage. I mean, you know, you may do the hydrology, whatever, may take into account 5 inches of rain a year, but what happens, like we've had the past 2 years? Everybody on the street's going to be flooded, and this could make it even worse. I'm not saying it will, but it could. So I think we need to make sure that there is some way that this can be taken into account as we progress on this.
Yes, that is a required step in the low impact development review stage, which is when the engineers look at it. That is a required step. They can't move forward until that's been satisfied.
Does that take into account the problems that they're currently there?
Yes. Stormwater, sewer, all of those.
Right, okay, good.
By address.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By address.
Yeah.
Believe me,
Okay.
they're well aware of what's going on.
Oh, yeah, I know that. So, okay, with that, we brought it back. I think it's now time to close the hearing and call for, see if there is a motion.
I make a motion that we approve as it is, with taking into effect everything that we've discussed, the water, which is already in there, I'm sure, and that we.
Do you have a second, Joaquin? Okay. Yeah, the only thing is that I'm aware of the resolution that has to be changed is the conditional use permit change to vesting tract.
Noted.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Can we take a vote here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So passed. Now we can move on here to, okay, yeah. Get Steve. Schedule matters. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mike, for handling all that. All right, so we're going to go on to item 6, scheduled matter 6A, communication regarding city council actions.
Yep, so there were no entitlement applications before city council since we've last met last month. They did approve a contract for the mural that's going to be at Lomita Park on the softball shed. And they did meet as we gear up for the budget season to reevaluate the goals that they had last established in 2021 to help inform the budget coming up here.
Let's see, 6B, upcoming developments and businesses.
I do not have updates since we last met.
Okay, maybe you can get one next month.
Trucking on along.
So we're still July on target?
Yes.
Any tentative date on grocery outlet?
I do not have a tentative date exactly, but they said the late summer.
Oh, is there a sign that says when? Oh, I didn't catch.
says that they're coming.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I meant, yeah, oh, yeah. They got tons of stuff in the parking lot.
Did you say what was the target date for Target?
July, yeah.
No, I did Target. Okay, anybody, anything else, Brianna?
Not on that
Okay.
item.
I know Wells Fargo is officially closed as of Friday.
Yes.
And Ace is having their going out of business sale. Is any good sale, any good items?
They were 50%.
Yeah.
Who's having a going out of business?
Ace Hardware.
Now that there's going to be parking? I didn't know they were going out of business.
The one on PCH.
It's going out of business.
And Wells Fargo's gone.
Well, I know Wells Fargo is. I didn't know Ace was going out of business.
Because they're putting in apartment buildings on that corner.
They have not informed the city of that.
I have a question. The property across the street from there, right on the corner by the Nook and that bank where all the homeless people like to stay, what's going on with that? They haven't done anything since we approved all that stuff.
Yeah, so they, there was that ordeal with the signage that was going to have to comply with the code. The 2 restaurants that were going to be put in there, they pulled out. The developers have been in conversation with us of what else to do, maybe in conjunction with adjacent properties, maybe some lot consolidation. And they're awaiting the adoption of the general plan, which will allow an increased density and a mixed-use type of development at that property. So you'll probably see them end of the year, early next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so, nothing else under upcoming developments or businesses, okay. Item 7, staff announcements.
Yes, just a few items. I did confirm priorly is a word. Wasn't sure when I said it earlier. Last week was the last week of our planning intern, Whitney Weisberg, who's been amazing. She's been involved in so many different projects, from economic development to code enforcement to planning review, residential property reports, and the mural going at Lomita Park. That was largely her efforts. And so with that said, we are in recruitment for her replacement. She left because she found full-time work, and the planning intern position is a part-time position. So if you know anyone, you can direct them to the city's website for job openings. We did have the second code enforcement officer that's full-time with the city. Her name's Zainab Kazi. She has started 2 weeks ago, and she's been working together with Will, as you know, who's been promoted as supervisor, and she's hitting the ground running. Last, I have next meeting that we have, I think April 9th it is. It's a pretty big agenda, and one of the things that will be coming before you is like I mentioned before, the general plan and housing element annual progress reports. Those are it's just the receive and file staff report with attachments that we present to you all for information, and we also present it to City Council. And so it is going to be on the City Council agenda for next week. And then I'll be doing a full presentation, but it will be on the consent agenda on the April 9th Planning Commission meeting because of so many other items you all get to talk about that night. But if you want to watch the presentation, you can either come to the meeting or watch the Zoom recording, or I can meet with you, whatever it is. That's all I have.
Is leaving. And we have no permanent replacement. Lena's stepping in for him temporarily. Okay. Let's see, 7B, Planning Commission items. Jay?
I would like to be the first to congratulate Brenda Stevens on her nomination to chair. And I also want to thank Chairman Camerata and Vice Chair Graff for being an incredible example of leadership on this commission the last year. Made it a great first year for me, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob?
I'll echo that. You gentlemen have done a great job. It's been really nice having you in those two seats, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the youngins do. The youngins, everybody's younger than me. And I want to make a comment. I'm not going to talk about a particular address, but you know, we get these things that come before us all the time, and we're not sure whether it's really having an impact or not. But we had a restaurant a while back asked to be able to sell beer and wine. And they're in a location that I don't understand why anybody wants to put a restaurant there, but there's a lot of them there, and they just constantly come and go. Anyway, we approved that. And I frequent that restaurant, and I walked in there the other day, since they've now started selling beer and micheladas. It was packed, and it's packed every night.
Good.
And the impact of the little things that we do can make a difference whether a business survives in this city or not. And this happens to be an outstanding restaurant. So I'm not going to say the name because I'm not doing commercials, but I'll tell you offline. But anyway, I just thought you'd like to know that.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. Good field reporting, Bob.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
When I'm here.
Mike, anything?
No.
Okay. I do also want to congratulate Brenda for,
Other than that.
yeah, for taking over the chair. Use the gavel wisely and often if you need to.
And sit away from.
And also congratulate Jay for being the vice chair, so congrats to both of you guys. Other than that, nothing.
I just
Okay.
want to congratulate everybody, Mike, Steve, Brenda, and Jay, and staff. You guys did a job tonight.
Yes.
I guess I shouldn't say anything, but I didn't hear anything, so I don't know how it went. I literally was outside on the phone, and then, yeah. I have no idea how it went, to be honest. I really don't. I just know somebody asked me if I'm coming to the meeting, and I said, no, I'm waiting. Oh, what are you waiting for? I said, for me to be called back into the meeting. Oh, so. Okay, Brenda?
I just want to say I've got big shoes to fill, and you guys have been awesome since I've been on the commission. And I'll probably be asking a lot of questions from the ones that have been here longer than I. And Jay, we'll give him hell, you know? That's it.
Okay, super. Thanks, Brenda. Monica?
Yes, thank you, Steve and Mike. You've done a great job. We really appreciate all the work you go into it, but the questions you ask, we know you go through everything line by line, and we really appreciate that because it takes a lot of time. And Brenda and Jay, your next meeting will be next month. Unfortunately, I will not be here. I'm going to be in Ireland.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I look forward in May to seeing you and Jay run a meeting. So congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
I'm out. Never mind. I had my chance. Forget it. I just want, Beverly, can you have Linda get? Kathleen, sorry, I don't know. I'm thinking about something else.
Just in time.
You got rid of me just in time, yeah.
We're going on a good note.
Would you, I'm so sorry. Would you have Linda get them copies of the public meeting agendas? the script. Thank you. I'm so sorry.
Actually, you know what? There is one thing I had. Did we ever go back to the planning commission rules and procedures? We never did we? Because we never had a fall commission.
So the city manager's office recommended that be reviewed for all boards and commissions and be implemented board and commission wide, to have the same requirements when it comes to attendance of city council meetings.
Okay, so,
Your bylaws specifically, that's something that I've been told is a city council level approval of your bylaws. I need to get further clarification on that. It has not been honestly a high priority on our list
okay.
of projects.
There's
But
been
I'm
a lot
happy to reprioritize.
of, lot of change and so forth. But is it going to be reviewed by the city council or is it by legal?
Both.
Okay, just curious. Okay, that answers my question. Other than that, I have nothing else, so I guess we could ask for item C, 7C, commissioners to attend next meetings, April 2nd and April 16th. I don't know if anybody is going to be,
I think at the last meeting, we just said
whoever
TBD.
can, whoever can.
Whoever can
make it,
attend.
Yeah, okay. So with that.
Has to go to all of them.
Yeah. Yes. With that, I would
That's
ask.
all right, I'm doing the March meetings anyway, because my wife's doing it for her commission.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Okay, motion to adjourn is accepted, and the meeting is adjourned at 7:07.